You wouldn't stand in the middle of a busy freeway. Then why would you stand here? The dangers that exist in the middle of the freeway can be seen and heard, whereas the dangers associated with close exposure to high-pressure treating lines give no warning before disaster can strike. Good day to all. Our message today and intent of this brief presentation is to elevate your awareness of the potential safety hazards associated with close exposure to confined pressure and treating lines during operations. In prior years, we have produced a number of training videos with a similar message to stay clear from high pressure areas. Hopefully most of you have seen these. Don't tease a tiger, there are no clowns, and there are still no clowns. But for those of you who may not have viewed these productions, our message is still the same. Stay away from the high pressure areas at all times. Each day, we in Schlumberger work safely on location and at our facilities around confined pressure hazards. We accomplish this through utilizing our safety training, compliance to Well Services Standard 5, risk identification assessment, and mitigation. We also enforce compliance to our procedures in Well Services Standard 23, testing and inspection of treating equipment, to ensure our treating iron is in good working condition. Despite following all the above, treating iron can fail and has in the past. The results of this occurrence, when personnel have been near the failure point, have caused serious and fatal injuries, unfortunately. Therefore, our message to all of you is stay away from high pressure areas at all times. We must practice safe behaviors to properly manage this hazard. Restrict access to all employees, third parties, and client personnel to the unsafe areas. These should be clearly cordoned off on a location, and only with job supervisor approval should anyone enter an area of high pressure during operations. Your safety and well-being is our number one goal in Schlumberger, and we are committed to providing you the training to accomplish an incident-free career. But ultimately, safety is your responsibility, and we empower you to stop any activity or situation where you feel it is unsafe. Don't take it for granted because you have walked around treating lines with confined pressure before that nothing can go wrong. It has and can occur, but will result in no harm to any of us if we follow procedures and stay away from confined pressure. Now a brief overview from Vic Colciani, Well Services HSE Manager.
From 2004 through 2005, Well Services has incurred over 80 treating equipment related events where our iron split or separated. Of these, 13 resulted in treating iron separating completely, with only one causing minor injury to an individual. However, each one of these 80 had the potential to result in a catastrophic injury if someone happened to be in the wrong place at the time of the failure. To illustrate this, at 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday, January 8, 2003, one of our well service employees was fatally injured when the rated pressure of a client-supplied line was exceeded during a pressure test and the line failed. Other service companies have also incurred serious and catastrophic injuries as a result of treating line failures. Since the implementation of Well Services Standard 23, over 13,500 pieces of treating iron have been scrapped for not meeting the requirement of the standard. Each and every one of these could have resulted in a treating iron failure. We can prevent the potential risk by following established Schlumberger and Well Service safety standards, such as purchasing and using treating equipment only from approved suppliers, inspecting the treating iron at a minimum annually, and physically destroying iron outside of our specifications, rigging up as per Standard 5, ensuring that pumps are properly primed and the lines pressure tested, ensuring that all overpressure shutdowns and pressure relief devices are installed and function tested for each job, The single most effective mitigation measure is to keep our personnel as far away from the high pressure areas as reasonably possible at all times during the job. High pressure or unsafe zones should be cordoned off with caution tape. If it is necessary to enter an unsafe zone, this should be done through job supervisor approval and for the minimum amount of time to accomplish the necessary task.
My name's Selwyn Semper. I'm an FS3 with Schlumberger in fracturing. Been with the company about 15 years now. I've been supervising frac jobs for about 9 years.
What kind of job were you pumping, and at what rates and pressure were you pumping?
Okay, we were pumping a 7-stage frac on the well, and we were on the 5th stage that particular day, and it was a borate cross-link frac job. We were pumping about 40 barrel a minute. Our pressure was around 5,200 psi.
Was the iron within our standards, such as iron testing?
Yes, the iron had been tested. It was tested about 2 months prior to that job. The iron had it had the band on it, which had the date that indicated when the iron was tested.
What precautions did you take during the pre-job safety meeting and during the job to keep personnel away from the treating line?
In our pre-job meeting, we always emphasize to stay away from the treating iron anytime we're pumping, including priming up, pressure testing during the job. So we always really emphasize that in the pre-job meeting. Plus we make sure that people stay clear of the swing arc of the iron should it part, that no one is in the area where that iron might swing. Also, we make sure that any visitors to the location are also aware of that. We have people available to let them know and be aware of the dangers.
Can you explain what happened when the iron parted on this particular job?
Where it parted was on a lateral. Like I said before, we were pumping about 40 barrel a minute, and we'd already pumped 4 stages through this iron, and we were probably at a lower pressure at that point than we'd had been at most of the day. When the iron parted at the lateral, the remaining iron that was connected to the pump swung around and ended up underneath the pump next to it.
Has this changed the way you and your crew work around the treating line?
We're always very cautious around treating iron, and I think what it probably changed is it just made the people that seen it are now more aware of what will happen when line does part. So, maybe now they're even more cautious. They watch out for each other. They watch out for any visitors that happen to come on location.
What advice would you give on working with pressure?
I think the best advice I could give is just make it very clear that even new iron can part at any time. Anytime you're dealing with pressure, there's always that danger there. So just in your pre-job meetings and that, make sure everyone's aware of that. Make sure you have your caution tape around where the swing of the iron may be, and just keep people clear of that area. Even during prime up, if someone shuts a valve on you, or you got ice in your line, anything can happen at any time while you're pumping. So my advice is just make sure that your crew and the people on location are aware of the danger, and they just stay clear of that area.
The employees that were interviewed in this video were going out on another routine job that was supposed to go as safely as all the other jobs that they have performed in their careers. Then the unexpected occurred, when our treating line separated with a force that would certainly have caused serious and even potentially fatal injuries to anyone that would have been standing in close proximity. Because Selwyn Samper, the supervisor, and his crew were following our safety procedures and their training, and because they were all practicing awareness of the risks of their environment and looking after one another, the crew was all kept at a safe distance from the high pressure area, and I am happy to say that there were consequently no injuries. I am sure that this crew are all now absolutely convinced that our procedures and their training make sense. They will not need any convincing that we need to treat high pressure with the utmost respect. It is all too easy for us to become complacent about the trapped energy in our treating lines. This incident shows us why we can never let that complacency set in, no matter how many years experience you have or how many jobs you have done. That is why, when we had the senior management review of this incident, we decided that we needed to make this video to remind everyone of the potential danger of the energy that is packed into our treating lines. This is made all the more important as in the last few years we have seen the emergence of a high rate fracturing technique that has elevated the risk of treating line failures. At the same time, we have experienced major growth in all areas in the last 3 years, which has translated to a significant number of new, less experienced employees. We want to ensure that these individuals, as well as our senior personnel, recognize the importance of staying clear of our treating lines at all times. The management team is committed to providing you with the proper procedures, equipment, and training to perform your job safely. You, however, have the responsibility to apply these to ensure your own safety and to look out for others in your crew. You are fully empowered to stop any unsafe act at any time, and I promise you that you will have the full support of management to do so. Now, keeping a safe distance from the high pressure areas is an important step in ensuring your safety. Treat high pressure with the respect that it deserves. I wish to thank the Vernal, Utah crew for their contribution to the production of this message and for the way that they handled this incident. Thank you all for your attention to this important message and for your contributions to our well services safety performance.